What I'd like to do is I'd like to create an image of hope.
Hope means that not only that there are options, but also that it's not time to quit.
The idea of hope tends to be thought of as something abstract and, like it's a kind of a keeps us going in the long run. A shift inside of oneself, a shift of perception, a shift in consciousness, an opening up of freedom, a lifting of the heart. It's like an emotional and spiritual change. It's not just an idea that something will get better in the future.
I think it's coping, but going beyond coping, coping without resentment, going on with life, and helping other people to do the same.
I have a program of research on hope, and I've done about 9 research studies on hope. And I saw this as a way, possibly, of further understanding what was happening with hope.
The theatre is being used to take those findings that already exist and putting them in the form of theatrical scripts and then presented to a group of people as an audience.
This is a theater event. It's a forum theater event. Forum theater is an innovation that was developed in the 60s that was created in order for communities to talk about issues that concerned them. In this case, the particular situation has to do with the question of hope. What is hope? The group that is formed around this question has been a very specific group, and that specific group are family caregivers of people with dementia and what hope means to them. The idea behind using this theater model and this theater process was to actually engender hope actively by creating a collective core group.
Everybody, stand up. You move your chair just back a little bit.
Rob took us through various exercises, and you could see the loosening up, the thawing, I guess, of reservedness that people have when they come into a group where they don't know anybody. It didn't take very long before your trust level goes up. And everybody, it didn't matter who they were, we moved around and worked with different people as he had us intermix. And he did an excellent job on that. And the people were open and willing, I think, because they had a common goal. And when you have a common goal, it's so much easier to move forward.
Hope is about optimism. It's about optimism for the person that you're caring for, and it's optimism for those who care for the person.
Hope to me is having options. There are other approaches, there are other ways of handling situations. And that's where the hope is. That you're not backed into a corner and there's nothing else that you can do. There's always a diversionary tactic that can be done.
In looking after Angela's father, hope to me is not saying that, well, it's no longer possible. We are concerned about his view of hope more than ours, and in some ways maybe that gives us more hope too.
As a caregiver, in the early stages, I wanted to get all the information I could in order to be a good caregiver, whatever that means. Therefore, I have to learn to cope with the situation. And if I can cope with the situation, I feel fine.
My own mother had Alzheimer's, diagnosed in 1999, and I was the first intervener, I guess you could say, of the 4 children in terms of seeing a problem, taking her to the doctor, seeing resistance on the part of other family members, extending myself to go to the farm for 10 months to make sure she was safe till we could get her moved, and then still playing a primary role as a caregiver until she died in 2005. And in the meantime, I also married, and in 2006, my wife was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. One morning she said to me, "Who are you? I don't know who you are. You're sort of familiar, but I don't know who you are."
What I'd like to do is I'd like to create an image of despair.
And despair is not a completed action because it's not the end. Hope is not a completed action by virtue of its definition. You're hoping for something better.
What I'd like to do is, starting from Paul's, if we can go back there, and just as I clap my hands, is to take one move towards your ideal image of hope. 1, 2, 3.
For me, the first action was opening my eyes. And the importance there was that there was some reason for them to open outside myself. So in my way of looking at it, the key to moving from despair to hope is the participation of another force, another person. Maybe it's a pet, it doesn't matter. Something that brings me out of that dark room into a place where there may be light.
My husband developed Alzheimer's about 7 years ago, and he is now in long-term care. And they figure he started his Alzheimer's when he was about 54, and he's now 62. And he was a research scientist at a national research lab, and now he really can't do anything. He can't communicate, but he walks. My husband is in another world. He's content. He's not struggling. He's okay. For me, I need people. I need people to be there when I get down, or just to get me out of myself. Go for a walk, anything. That's my hope. It's my friends.
My job is not to give them their story. My job is to elicit from them the story that they want to discuss among themselves.
He specifically asked for situations. You know, what are some of the situations? And we came up with the one with the doing the dishes, and then the one where I had to pick up the young fellow, the one that I was involved with.
So we have 2 scenarios. We have 2 scenarios, and these 2 scenarios I think are very good. And what we're going to see is the protagonist, who generally speaking in our event is the family caregiver, is the caregiver. Generally speaking in our scenarios, the antagonist will be the cared for. We have written these plays without any endings, because the endings are what we're looking for. And that's where you guys come in. So in this case, we have Jean and we have Paul. And they're playing, in this case, a husband and wife. And it's just after supper in the living room. And they're just sitting down to watch TV. And anytime actors, you can go.
Good supper, Gene. Now let's watch the show. Thought Corner Gas is on tonight.
No, it's Coronation Street tonight.
No, every second day we watch Corner Gas.
We haven't watched Coronation Street in a long time.
I know, but you get a chance. You watched it last week, and you can watch it again next week. Tonight's Corner Gas, Gene. Oh, just a moment, I'll get the phone.
Who's that? I can get it.
I don't know. Hello. Oh, hi, Roxanne, yes.
Oh, Roxanne?
Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, it's okay, just hang on, Gene. Yeah, okay. I mean, Michael's at the rink right now, and he needs a ride.
Michael,
you can't pick him up.
No,
I can pick him up. I can be there in about 10 minutes.
No.
Sure.
I can go and get
okay,
him.
I'll get.
I'll get my keys. I'll get my keys.
Gene, you can't
I can go. I got my purse and I can get my...
No, Jean, you can't go.
Now, does anybody have an idea what he could do in this situation? Yes.
His grandson, and you say at the moment I'm unable to come and get you until he settles down his wife.
Would you mind coming up here and just doing that? Let's try out that strategy that you suggested, and I'll freeze it after that. I'll just let it go for a minute, a second or two. Mm-hmm. But it is just about executing the strategy as you stated it, okay?
I'll go and get Michael. I always go and get Michael, and I'll find my keys. I know they're in here somewhere. I always...
But don't worry about it at the moment, because I know Michael's waiting to come home. But if we call Mum, his mum, then she'll go and pick him up.
Oh, okay.
And then that'll solve the problem.
Okay.
I mean, you'll be quite happy about that because you know he'll be coming home.
Okay. Well, all right, but I always pick him up.
And at the moment, the car needs gas, and we haven't got any.
Okay.
I really was pleased that the driving one was included, because driving, cars, keys, that whole thing is such a huge challenge for people. It's a real point of independence, and I thought that was important, that was one of them.
Hope is really about possibilities, and what you have to think that expectations about probabilities. Hope is about possibilities. What is possible?
I think it gave me hope, knowing that something was happening to help other people going through this.
I saw a lot of people that had a lot of concerns, and you could almost read it in their face, like, how is this going to help me? And then as the sessions progressed, you could see those layers sort of wash away. And I think they let themselves into it, and they accepted what was there and realized, yes, I can use this. This is a help. And never thought of that. Good point, I'll remember that. And you could see them tucking away little things in the back of their memory for use when they got back with the people that they were going to be working with. And I think they all came away from there with their spirits certainly lifted to a certain extent, yeah.
It was real. The scenarios were about real life because it had to be about possibilities. The other thing that comes through very clearly is that there's times in our lives where we feel like we've lost hope. But hope, what we hope for is very situational. It changes and can change in different situations.
There's hope that it can be a better experience, I guess.
There was one time that when Paul and I were approaching each other that we sort of grasped each other, and I put my hand on his shoulder, that it was a wonderful feeling.
I feel that it's still kind of left up to the individual families. It's a family problem. We're not going to get involved. And it's sort of like what we need to do is to bring this out into the open. This is life. And it may happen. It happens in many instances. Let's get familiar with it so that we can recognize it, so that we can appreciate what our neighbors are going through. Maybe we can, do something about it by making it more commonly understood.
That hope, in fact, is an active process. Hope is something that you actually do. Hope is something that brings you to your next step. It's a creative process. It's also a process that is very helpful and supported if you have other people with you.
The feelings were real, the despair, because we were in a pose and we were to hold it. There was silence, and everything was going on in your own head, and it was an intense feeling. And then the changing to the hope, it was such a relief, because you are actually feeling it, not just doing it. And that surprised me. I didn't think that I would have those emotions.
What we see in the ethnodrama played out very strongly is that because the scenarios and people are real, and because people help about coming in and talking about what might be changed and what could be different, it opens wide what other possibilities might be.
I think hope, to a large extent, is what keeps many human beings going. You're always looking to the horizon. What's beyond the next hill? And if you stop and you don't bother looking beyond the next hill, you don't bother looking to the next horizon, it's like a car that's run out of gas. You're just going to sit there and do nothing.
What we learned about hope in particular is, coming out of the workshops, is that as individuals, as human beings, we experience despair in isolation when we're alone. We experience hope when we are together, when we are part of a collective, when we are with others. And we also learned that hope comes out of action. And so you have, I think, one source of hope that is obvious is that it comes out of collective action. Right? So that we're moving together, we're not alone, and we're not isolated, we're not stationary, we're not stuck.
Hope is essential to our life, and that was very clear too. Without hope, we give up and we go into despair. So, because it's so essential, we use the term 50,000 times a day, but without really realizing how important it is to us. So the whole ethnodrama process also brought that out again, how important hope is, what are the challenges to hope, particularly for these caregivers, and then how opening the door to other possibilities actually fostered their hope.
Well, this is a theater-based approach to research. It doesn't in the least necessitate theatrical or acting background of any kind, that everybody can be part of it.
There is hope, providing you know how to cope with the situation. And if you know that, then at least the caregiver can live as normal life as possible.